Nabi 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 Nabi
Inshallah, in today's sermon, we will be drawing our attention to the commandment of Allah Ta'ala and the teachings of our noble Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam regarding to respecting and honoring scholars. Alhamdulillah, as Muslims, نحن قوم أمرنا أن ننزل الناس منازلهم. We are a community that has been taught to put people in their places. That is, Allah Ta'ala, commanded us to honor people generally, as He said in a verse of the Quran that وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. Allah Ta'ala says He honored mankind. So virtually every human being deserves to be respected. So not only scholars, but out of Allah's wisdom, He elevated some above some. As He said to us in the verse of the Quran that يَرْفَعِ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ وَالَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمَ دَرَجَاتٍ. Allah Ta'ala, He said in this noble verse of the Quran, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, يَرْفَعِ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ. Allah Ta'ala, elevates those who believe amongst you. It is Allah Ta'ala honor those who believe amongst us. So virtually any believer is honored by Allah Ta'ala. And then He went further to say that وَالَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمَ دَرَجَاتٍ. And for those who have knowledge, they have some degrees of elevation. And when Allah Ta'ala commands us with things, each and every one, maybe there is his own level of involvement. And when we talk about honoring scholars, it's an injunction to everybody. Scholars need to respect scholars, and students like us, that is the small ones learning, we also need to honor scholars within our own, sphere. Because one unfortunate scenario that is happening within the society today, it is not about scholars alone. Virtually, we are not used to giving honor to those who deserve the honor. If we will be picking, each of the groups state by state. And I want us to start looking at it from the perspective of scholars themselves. Is if we say that Allah Ta'ala commanded us to respect scholars, to honor scholars, so the first people to set example are the scholars themselves. Because the students, or those who are not as learned as scholars, are supposed to take the scholars as role models. Just the way that scholars, as they are not as learned as the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they took the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or they are supposed to take the Messenger sallallahu as their role model. As Allah Ta'ala said to us in Surah Al-Ahzab, that لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. Allah Ta'ala said that in the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam there are a lot of good qualities a lot of good, behaviors for them to emulate. So we have good things to copy from the Messenger of Allah. And the scholars are who? They are the inheritors of the messengers. Al-ulama'u warathatul anbiya. So respecting scholars is tantamount to respecting the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Just the way that respecting the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam or obedience to the Messenger sallallahu is tantamount to obeying Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. When you say al-Rasula, faqad ata'a Allah. Whoever obeys the Messenger obeys Allah. Yes, Allah is different, the Messenger is different, the scholars are different, but there is connection. They are connected. It's just like the believers are different, Allah is different, but there is connection between the believers and Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. And that is why when you do things thinking you are mocking the believers, Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala said to us in the verse of in Surah Al-Baqarah, in a verse that يُخَادِعُونَ اللَّهَ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَمَا يَخْدَعُونَ إِلَّا أَنفُسَهُمْ وَمَا يَشْعُرُونَ. Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala said regarding to the hypocrites, He said they think they are deceiving Allah and the believers. And Allah said they deceive none but themselves, وَمَا يَشْعُرُونَ, but they do not. It's why I pick it from this perspective, so that, yes, the one that's supposed to set example for those who are not enlightened are the scholars themselves. Because if Allah wa ta'ala and the Prophet commanded us or taught us to respect scholars, then take for instance like a scholar, no matter how learned someone is, there's somebody above him. Every teacher have teacher. Every teacher have what? Teacher. Every scholar have his own scholar. So if he is supposed to be respected by those who are not as learned as him, that means he is also supposed to respect those who he is not as learned as them, or who have taught him at least one time. If there is possibility of you one time becoming more learned than your own teacher. Sometimes. So, and part of respecting scholars, or what is expected regarding respecting scholars, is for us to, put them in their place, honor them, check how we speak with them. No human being is perfect. One of the mistakes some of us used to make is this: when a scholar makes mistake, then you feel because he is wrong, then you can say whatever you like to him. Take for example, as a child you are commanded by Allah wa ta'ala to respect your father. And part of respecting your father is for you to also check how you speak to him when he errs, when he is wrong, when he makes mistake. If your father made mistake, and in the course of you correcting him, you abuse him, because he made mistake does not turn your abuse to right. Your abusing him is a different thing. His mistake is another thing. Yes, you can correct anybody, because no human being is perfect. Part of respecting scholars doesn't mean when they make mistake you can correct them. Part of respecting scholars does not mean when they make mistake you just follow them. No, you can correct your scholars, but with what? With respect. Just the way if you talk about leaders, you can correct your leaders without, with what? With respect. It's about da'wah. Allah said, "Ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmah wal maw'izati al-hasana." Call on to the path of your Lord with wisdom and what? Good admonition. And why I decided to start with scholars is this: if we expect those who are not scholars to speak to scholars with respect, scholars need to teach those who are not scholars how to speak to those who are scholars, how to address scholars' mistake. If as a scholar another scholar make mistake, and in the course of correcting him, you rubbish him before making the correction. That is what? You are teaching others too. That when somebody make mistake, how to correct the person is what? You abuse him before what? Correcting him. Nobody knows everything. Nobody knows everything. And no human being is perfect. كلكم خطاؤون وخير الخطائين التوابون. And we have so many incidences in the life of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam for us to see how people who are supposed to be respected are corrected. Take for instance in Surah Taha, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala gave us scenario of Prophet Musa alayhi salatu wasalam going to correct Fir'aun or to address Fir'aun. What did Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala say to Prophet Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, Prophet Harun alayhi salatu wasalam? What did Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala say to them? Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala said, اذهبا إلى فرعون إنه طغى. اذهبا إلى فرعون إنه طغى. فقولا له قولا لينا لعله يتذكر أو يخشى. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala said, اذهبا, both of you should go to Fir'aun. Go to Pharaoh. إنه طغى. He's an arrogant and pompous person. فقولا له قولا لينا. Both of you should speak to him in a mild way, in a soft way. لعله يتذكر أو يخشى. Most likely, he may be what? Admonished or be conscious of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala told our Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in terms of his communication with the kuffar, not even scholars. You see, sometimes when you come to correct people or when you come to guide people, don't hate yourself too much. Don't attribute too much purity to yourself. You need to humble yourself. If you maybe as a scholar you want to correct another scholar, why did I pick scholars? Like I said, there's a saying in Hausa. They say what? Atauna zakwa ayata jimi. So if we say scholars are supposed to respect scholars, that means people like me and you who are not scholars supposed to what? Give them more respect. You see, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala was also guiding the Messenger in terms of what? Address to others. You want to guide, you want to correct. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala said to Messenger what? قل, say, لا تسألون عما أجرمنا. You people, that is you the kuffar, will not be asked by Allah regarding to what? عما أجرمنا, regarding what we commit. You see, he used what? Negative word for who? For himself. لا تسألون عما أجرمنا. You will not be questioned pertaining to what we commit. But when he now wants to talk to them, he said, وَلَا نُسْأَلُ, and we will not be asked عَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ. He did not say عَمَّا تُجْرِمُونَ. لَا تُسْأَلُونَ عَمَّا أَجْرَمْنَا. He and those who follow him are the ones on the right path. But you see, when he wants to address them, he did not say, لَا تُسْأَلُونَ عَمَّا نَعْمَلُ وَلَا نُسْأَلُ عَمَّا تُجْرِمُونَ. He didn't say that. But rather he said, what will tell them, لا تسألون, you will not be asked عما أجرمنا, pertaining to what we commit, ولا نسأل عما تعملون, and you will not be asked pertaining to what, ولا نسأل, you will not be asked pertaining to what we commit, and we will not be asked pertaining to what you do. Because today when you go on social media, you see that most of us, instead of fighting for Islam, instead of calling people to Islam, instead of defending the image of Islam, we are just busy making noise. Why did I call it noise? Because it is not for the sake of what? Islam. I abuse my brother, or I abuse my sister just because I'm upset with something. We move from discussing issues to discussing people. That is, we move from what? Discussing issues to discussing people. So when will you stop discussing? When will that end? What Allah wants you to do is to guide people onto what? The path of Allah. Ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmah. Sabili rabbik. The deen of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. It's just like as a country. Why our country is not working or things are not working in the country is that in most cases we are not discussing issues, we are discussing people. Any intelligent person, if you ask him, the greatest problem of this country is what? Behavior. It has nothing to do with any political party. Any political party you bring in, you are going to have the same result. You're not going to have a different result. Why? In most cases, you will discover that the people that are in this party you are voting for are actually in the other party you say you don't like before. So the issue is not what? It's not about party. You see, maybe like now when people gather and they are fighting, instead of fighting for the goodness of the country, people are fighting for the sake of a political party. But if you ask anybody, why did you form political parties? The goal, the ultimate goal of forming any political party in any decent society is to solve the problem of the country, not to solve the problem of the party. It's just like as a scholar, when you gather people and you are preaching to them, the ultimate goal of your preaching is not for them to respect you. It's not for you to draw them to yourself. The ultimate goal is for them to what? Submit to Allah. How they respect you, how they treat you, you leave that to Allah. But your ultimate concern will be what? Guiding them onto the path of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. And we must understand that when we respect scholars, as I said, we are respecting the prophets of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, and respecting the prophets of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is about respecting our deen, respecting the Sharia, and respecting Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Sometimes I used to give example to younger ones. If you want to know a child who respects his parents, if you want to know someone who respects an elder, check him more when he is upset than when he is happy. Just like if you want to know your real friends, check those, how they treat you when you are what? In difficulty. Not when things are okay for you. That's why they say a friend in need is a friend in what? Indeed. That is, your real friends are those who remember you when you are suffering, are those who remember you when you have problems. And so somebody who also respects you dearly is the one who checks what he says to you as at the time he is also upset. You see, because of his respect for you, though he is upset with you, he was still calculating what he says to you. So my brothers and sisters, indeed, whether as scholars or as followers of scholars or as students, we need to know that respecting scholars is part and parcel of the teachings of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. We must also understand that disrespecting scholars are part of the things warned against by Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. And like I said, a scholar erring, a scholar making mistake is not a justification for disrespect. And also, no matter how learned any scholar is, whatever command he gives you, you will only obey him if what he commanded you with is what is in line with what Allah says. If any scholar commands you with what is against the will of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, la sam'a lahu wa la ta'a. That moment. Just the way your parents are. Allah says, وَإِن جَاهَدَاكَ عَلَىٰ أَن تُشْرِكَ بِمَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٌ فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا. Yes, you will not obey them, but you will not abuse them. You will not obey them, but you will not what? Disrespect them. It is clear. Allah says, فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا. But what did Allah went further to say? They say, وَصَاحِبَهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفًا. Look at the story of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. When he was addressing his father, he wasn't using rough words, negative words to his father. Though his father wasn't what? A Muslim. Yes, we may not go into in-depth of that story, but when you look at the Quran, say, Ya abati la ta'budi shaitan. Ya abati. You know, he's using words of respect for him. But I and you today, if you have one elder who make mistake, or maybe you are preaching, he's saying a different thing, the next thing you abuse, and you feel that is expressing yourself. You feel that amounts to being a good Muslim. That has nothing to do with being a good Muslim, but rather it is a bad Muslim. Vulgar words are not things from good people. Good Muslim, the Prophet said to us in a hadith that man kana yu'minu billahi wal yawmil akhir falyaqul khayran aw liyasmut. Whoever believes in Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, or believe in Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala and the last day, should say what is good or keep silent. So my brothers and sisters, indeed, all of us, from scholars to students like us, we all need to begin to check how we talk to scholars. And like I said, for you to know about respect, it's not even about scholars alone. You need to check even how you talk to non-Muslims. Because as a Muslim, what will attract a non-Muslim to your way is for him to see in betterness in your own way than his own. If your own way of talking and his own way of talking is the same, so what's the difference? So why should he leave his own and come into your own? You don't respect elders, he doesn't respect elders, so what's the difference? But you see, if you respect elders, the elders among them will know that you are in a deen that teaches respect. And also as scholars too, we need to also respect those we're supposed to respect. As a scholar, then you don't abuse governor in your community. A governor is a leader. So if you want people to know the value of a leader, show them how to treat a leader. Because if you are a scholar, doesn't mean others are nobody. Islam commanded us to respect scholars. But like I said, scholars need to teach people how to respect elders. If you are a scholar, that means you are an elder from religious angle. As Allah says, Ya ayyuhal ladina amanu ati'u Allah wa ati'u Rasulah wa ulil amri minkum. Every environment have their leaders. Scholars are leaders in Muslim environment. Scholars are leaders in the society. So scholars are supposed to be respected as what? As religious leaders. And maybe you come to your community, then you have your Oba, you have your emir, whether he's a scholar or not scholar, because of his position, give him that, accord him that respect too. You see, when you respect him, he will respect you. When you disrespect him, he's not a scholar, so if you disrespect him, he will disrespect you too. So we all need to check ourselves. We all need to check ourselves. As a Muslim, you want a non-Muslim to respect you, respect him as a human being. Talk to him as a human being. Talk to him as someone who have value in your eyes. Talk to him as somebody you respect. Like I said, I've given us examples of Allah commanding righteous people to talk to notorious people, and he guided them as to how to speak to them. Allah told Prophet Musa, two prophets at the same time, to one person, and he gave them instruction as how to talk to him. He sent them to Fir'aun. He said, فَقُولَ لَهُ قَوْلًا لَيِّنًا. You are talking to your governor, you are talking to your president, you abuse the president because you are a scholar. What's the difference between president and Fir'aun? I'm not saying Fir'aun in behavior, I'm saying Fir'aun in position. What's the difference? Yes, as a scholar, you have the responsibility of correcting the president. You have responsibility of correcting the governor, but you don't have the right to abuse them, because Allah did not send you to abuse them. If you abuse them, they will send their boys out, to abuse you too, and you can't do anything. You abuse them, right? So they will also abuse you. Allah said, فَمَنْ يَعْتَدَى عَلَيْكُمْ فَاعْتَدُوا عَلَيْهِ بِمِثْلِ مَا اعْتَدَى عَلَيْكُمْ. If you abuse him, you've transgressed against him. Allah asked you to preach to him. Allah did not ask you to abuse him. So if you abuse him, he'll abuse you. Nothing will happen. Even if you pray against him, it will not work. You did something to him, he retaliated. But if you preach to him, yes, when he abuses you, then Allah will fight for you. So if you want Allah to fight for you, ادعو إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة. أقول ما تسمع واستغفر الله العظيم الجليل لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين في ذنب وخطايا فاستغفروه إنه غفور رحيم.
نبي 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 نبي